NightVision on the new Rennies radio network. Following clues left by our ancestors and travelling to the stars. Decoding mysteries and discoveries. Exploring secret meanings and hidden wisdom. Uncovering secret knowledge. So let's get into NightVision with your host, Renee Barnett.
Hi everyone, how is everybody today? Well, it's very, very hot where I'm sitting in southern France. We're having a heat wave. And thank goodness many of the houses here are extremely old and have very, very thick walls. I think my walls here are about 2.5 feet thick. So it does keep the heat out considerably, but still it's you don't want to spend too much time outside today. But I'm going to not waste too much time. Just want to say welcome to the group that's coming in this weekend from Tennessee. Lena and Larry Paul are bringing a group of seekers and explorers that will be traveling around our area and staying here at La Confluence. So we're really excited to have them here and look forward to anyone who would like to contact us about staying at La Confluence or about a guided tour or even a day tour. But in speaking of those tours, one person that's heavily involved in our tours as ever, because he is our director of history, is James Martin, and he's here with me. And I'm going to be leaning on you today, James, because I know that the subject matter that we're covering today is very, very close to your heart. And our dear friend is here to talk about his magnificent obsession and project. But I'm just going to let you fill in our listener that's out there. I know there's one. And let them know what it is that you're involved in with our guest while you introduce him.
Yeah, well, it's good to be back, and I have to say, in the UK also, massive heat wave. Yes, it's
massive heat wave, massive political upheaval, but I don't want to date the show too much.
No,
but,
well, I think political upheaval's absolutely everywhere at the minute, isn't it? But
yes,
yeah. So the project that Renee is referring to is of a castle in the Aude department in France, specifically in the Upper Aude Valley. Quite often people will focus, if they're visiting the Aude, on visiting places like Narbonne or Carcassonne, for example. And sometimes there are places that are overlooked for a variety of reasons. And a place that absolutely should be on the map is the Castle of Coustaussa. Now, for those who have visited Rennes-le-Château, Coustaussa is the castle just over the valley. You can see it when you drive to Rennes-le-Château. And really, I suppose the message is don't drive past it or look at it, but actually visit. You can visit the castle. And I suppose with all this in mind, the key player at the heart of this project is our friend Gauthier Marcel, who will bring in just now. Hi, Gauthier.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So yes, I am Gauthier, and I am actually the curator of these big and beautiful ruins of a castle, right at the other side of Rennes-le-Château. So
it's such an iconic location. I mean, you recognize it anywhere. You know, I think I told you, my cousin, who's one of the founders of our organization here, is a photographer, and he is coming over, to take some photos. And he goes, he said, there is this one place that I really want to go to and get pictures of. And he said, it's this castle ruin. And I said, I bet you I know exactly what you're talking about. And I sent him a couple pictures of the last time that I was up to your castle with my American friends who were from Hollywood. And he goes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And so it's a beautiful and iconic image. You always see it. And as Jay was talking about, it's not something you want to just pass by. But unfortunately, in years gone by, because I've been coming to this region for, over 2 decades, and you couldn't really go see it before. It was not in a condition, and then you've started your amazing project up there. And I'm sure Jay knows a lot more about it than I do. But it's really wonderful because now you can actually go up and walk around and explore. And the view from up there, I will say, is to die for. It's an incredible view.
Yeah, it was a very, very hard work. When I first started that project mid-2021, I had almost no gears to work on. I have to do everything by hand. I have some old pairs of big scissors to cut the brambles. I had a pickaxe. It was awful. We hadn't any shed on site, so I need to bring back and take my stuff with me. It was a very, very hard work. You had almost no view from the position because they were blocked by the brambles and all the spiky plants.
Yes.
And I was able slowly to cut that away from that site, and also my father helped me when he take his vacation. So he worked near Orléans, but when he take his vacation, he came here to the south of France, helped me for a few weeks, and we were able to do more securization, because actually the securization will help us gain more time to do the proper work, to do the preservation of that castle. And also it will allow us to safe access to the site, so we can open more to visitors. At first, you couldn't pass the angle of that main building. We were stopped at the end. There were no stairs going down, and now there are metal stairs go down at the end of the lower courtyard, and you can go up to the higher courtyard. And
Yes.
this is things that I have done for the access of the higher courtyard 2 years ago, I think. So I try to open more and more. Right now, I am working to have a safe access to the interior courtyard. Actually, you don't know, you have the main site at the middle, the main building, and then you do a loop around, so you cannot access during the visit the interiors of the ruins itself. There is not much to see. There is a lot of stones, a lot, very difficult to walk on. But you can see the most interesting stuff from outside in the safe area that I've cleared out. So, and what I'm doing there is I do a commented tour, and you can give whatever you want after the tour to help
Donation.
me.
Yeah.
And yes.
Well, what's interesting, Jay, I promise you I'm gonna be quiet, because I know there's so much more that you want to say, and that so much more you know about it. But what I did want to note is that, and I'm not sure what the statistics are, but I know it's one of the very few privately owned castles. Most of the castles that you see in this area are owned by the state. And so you get no help from the state on this project because it's private. Am I right about that?
Well, the state, not really the state, but the department has a kind of mentality that don't want to favorize the private sites
Right.
over the public site, but they have decided to have a major site. They are mostly public. There is some private site like the Abbey of Fontfroide that is owned by someone, but this is a project that started very long time ago, and it attracted a lot of people. I saw the last numbers; it was over 100,000 people for the 2025. Yes, 2025, and we have the castle of Privet that is slowly disappearing from the official website because
Yes.
it's privately owned, but I don't know, maybe the position of the tourism of the Haute Department is want another way to do tourism and don't integrate that castle later to their tour. And it's weird because we have like a department, and the major site you can visit seems to be all around, and it's create a false impression of having a desert in the middle with nothing to see. And I want to get out of that, and I want the castle to be the hub to access all those different sites that is either paid or not, because there is also a very interesting place to see. There is salty water source at Sugain. So you have literally salty water coming out the ground.
Wow.
I think it's it's a shame really, and just for those listener, I think Renee you said, but yes, for anyone listening, to explain. The departments of France are perhaps akin to counties that you would find in the United Kingdom and to an extent the United States. And I think that there are privately owned castles, but again, the ones that are on the map are the tourist spots, and tourism sometimes can destroy what it seeks to find, by being very busy and all of this. And I would just say it'd be remiss as an historian for me not to mention a little bit of history of Coustaussa itself. The area surrounding Coustaussa has been occupied for many thousands of years. We are talking a group of people known as the Elysians or Elisiques. Prior to this, there's the Varaza culture. We have Neolithic groups even before that. So it's really at the quite a central place in history. But Coustaussa itself appears to be on the site of, perhaps even earlier, but on the site of a Roman watchtower, and like with a lot of Roman watchtowers, then later Visigothic, really where you seem to have, perhaps I have to say, perhaps the foundations of the present castle at Coustaussa really built upon previous foundations. And the watchtower networks are really quite important because, for those watching and listening to this, you'll likely have watched Lord of the Rings, the films, and you see the big beacons being lit, as a warning system. Well, actually, that was quite real. We know that, for example, the Brecon beacons, which is a national park in the UK, have a guess where the names come from. We know that the shield of fortifications from Hadrian's Wall on the Cumbrian coast, on the west coast of northwestern England, very similar ideas. And of course, in and around the Aude Valley and further into the Pyrenees, where Coustaussa, likely a tower would have had a maybe wooden, maybe stone, but is an absolutely perfect viewing distance to the tower at Far, and then onwards then into the Pyrenees. So if you want an idea of something similar to the Lord of the Rings, Coustaussa is your place. And of course, when we talk about the history, there is a debate about the name Constantium, perhaps Custodianum, perhaps. Both could be true, but it does, and I suspect actually that both were true, incidentally. But of course, it had the stones itself saw the passing of Simon de Montfort, of the Albigensian Cathar crusades, but Albigensian if we're being correct. We saw the wars of religion, and ultimately the state in which the castle finds itself is actually relatively recent, simply due to neglect from the beginning of the 1800s. So you will see if you visit the different layers. It's like a cake. You see different layers of history. And for that, for those American listeners, the castle itself is much, much older than the United States, and indeed many countries, in fact.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, the construction, the main building, is built around the middle of the 12th century, 1157 to 1172. So it took only for the castle itself, the main defensive wall, the main building, and also some side building. It took only 15 years to build. So fairly quick, but the materials came from the site directly. This is what we call the gray stone. This is the limestone we have on the bedrock, and it's the same stone that we have at Rennes-le-Château. So
some of these stones as well. I mean, 1157. I just want to focus on this as well, because there will be a variety of people interested in the history of Coustaussa, but the famous family, I suppose, the Troncavel, which in English means nutcracker, just incidentally, but the Troncavel family, in 1157, they were the ones who ordered the very quick, I have to say, construction. So whenever you see speed in building, it is for usually an offensive or defensive purpose. And I think it was the Villar family who were responsible for the to oversee at least the fortification. So lots of connections to the history of this area. That, yes, if you went to Carcassonne, you would hear about the Troncavel family, but I would argue perhaps drive 40 minutes and you can see how far their domain really extended, and all of this. But yeah, it's and of course the stones. There are, and I do have to say, just with my eyes, I have to say this, but the stone looks very similar to lime, etc., that was quarried at Allet-les-Bains. So for those who have visited Allet-les-Bains, and we've done many shows where we've spoke about it, again, you have another connection to sites of historical importance. So again, I have to repeat, this is a place that shouldn't be ignored, and I would ask people to head along to Coustaussa, support the project, and any donations, of course, to the committee and to the castle project are very much welcome.
You know, that's one thing I did want to ask you about is the committee. Can you explain about what that is and how people can support and that sort of thing? I know
So
you.
actually, we are planning to do the Association of the Friends of Coustaussa, in French, l'Association des Amis du Château de Coustaussa. So this will be a group of people that want to bring life to the castle, to support the archaeology preservation project directly. We will have a small enterprise next to that for all the commercial stuff, so we will be able to be paid by our work. And the goal is to gain more trust, because we will not go in vacation using your money when you donate to the association. And the association, the goal really of the association is to save the castle, but you also can go and do the tours, and that your contribution after the tour help support the people, so me and my father, to work on that project all year long.
So, Gauthier, I just wonder whether you'd be able to talk a little around how it was your family got involved. Well, actually, end up owning, I suppose, a castle. I'm sure there'd be lots of people listening going, "How do you own a castle? You know, how did that happen?"
My father, I said, worked around Orléans, but he does that because he worked for the state. He is originate from La Serpent, that is a small village just nearby. And my mother is from Quillan, famous for the formica industry here, that unfortunately moved. Yes, I have to move near Paris. I was born in Paris, raised in Orléans, and I came back here. And my father owned a part of that castle from his grandfather. He didn't know how my great grandfather owned a part of that castle, but he was just a small peasant here in Coustaussa. We kept actually the house of my great grandfather here. It was the old coffee, one of the old coffee of the village. So it looked like a typical house where the dining room is used to serve drinks, and it's what you see at that time in every village. Is there is no big bar like today that you can see. This was much more how I said that, private. This was not so much commercial as today or as in Paris or other big cities. And my great grandfather or great grandfather used to do many jobs at the same time, because there was so low pay, that he was also a postman. He was at the same time also a garde champêtre. So I believe it's close to ranger. So take care of the forest to prevent any braconnage. Sorry, I don't have all the vocabulary in English, but
No, it's. I mean, you know, the idea of you know, being a postman as well as a ranger, you know, has a sort of swashbuckling idea in people's minds. Do you? So you know, there's a historical connection with your family. What was it that made you? Because again, as we said at the top of the show, the castle for a long time. I mean, when I was much younger, you know, don't go near the castle. It's dangerous, and really, and quite depressingly, really, there's a great fear that, you know, one, earthquake, one bad storm, and perhaps the entire thing would collapse. So I suppose I've sort of preempted your answer here, but what was it? What was it that in 2021 your family decided, no, we need to do something? Was there any particular event or?
Yes, the project started in reality in 1989. In 1989, an earthquake struck. It was just a very small or light shake, really, but it was enough to take down a wall of the tower that was owned by my great-grandfather. And my father wanted to, at that point, to try to do something to save the castle. So during the 19th century, the castle was divided between many families, many peoples. So there was between 6 to 8 different owners. Over time, some lands were grouped, fortunately. And when my father tried to bought every part of the castle, he started to first buy another part in 1996. But we are really here attached to our land because it brings a lot of souvenir family memories also. So it's even from the cousin, it's different. It's very difficult to buy a piece of land. But this happened in 2018, and then we had COVID struck and completely stopped every project. And the middle of 2021 was the end of the confinement. So we were able to say, okay, I tried by myself to do a small software company that didn't take, unfortunately, but I wanted to do something more interesting, something was more meaning. And the castle was that thing. Originally, it's the retirement project of my father that I stole into my living project on this. Of course, when my father will be retired, he will help me. This will happen next year, hopefully, because today I need more hands to work on the castle. I'll do all the small stuff, and now we need to be at least 2 to have a much greater advancement on that project. The biggest things we face is the administrative authorization and subvention asking, because we have a bit of money that can be granted when you do all the securitization work and everything, but the paper to do are complicated. The professional are very hard to find because there are all too much work to do. There is so much patrimonial history in France that need to be saved, and too little people that are able to do so. So it's a complicated thing.
A labour of love, I think, as we say. And just for those listening as well, confinement is the same as lockdown, as we we've all experienced. And I do just want to say as well, for those who are interested in the Knights Templar, between Coustaussa and Coustaussa, the Templars held some vineyards. However, in Coustaussa itself, there isn't too much evidence. But for a lot of people who perhaps have heard of Coustaussa, they'll be looking at Abbé Gély and the murder and trying to link all of this into broader Rennes-le-Château. And what I don't want to do is, criticize people too much on air for treasure hunters. But one of the frequent myths, I suppose, or perhaps reality, are with regards to secret tunnels underneath the village and what have you. Can you talk about that? Are there really secret tunnels under Coustaussa?
Well, in Coustaussa, I saw people that seems to sense things and not others that I know. It's not about some tunnels, but really some foundation arches. So it's a bit weird because, of course, we have lost the access of those more undergrounds. And there is no, this is not a secret that the castle of Coustaussa has more undergrounds. We can find it in the state archive. Unfortunately, what we didn't find was any architectural plan of that castle. There is some drawings, of course, that you can look on Google. It's really more of a sketch, a quick drawing of the plan de masse, or really just a quick plan, but it's super incomplete. And yeah, and this will be a challenge to find that small undergrounds, because we need to take care to not destroy any remains by accident of that castle. And also, we know that we have an underground reservoir, an underground water tank in the middle of the main building. And there is, at least in that main building, 10,000 tons of materials that left here because they were not interested by exploiting those stones. So there is a lot of stones. And yeah, it will be super complicated to dig that out. And of course, you need places to move those stones, and places that we don't have also.
You know, James, you brought up the Jelly murders and people that might be interested in those mysteries, but there's another site nearby that also interests people a lot, tourists, and also Da Vinci Code buffs and Holy Blood, Holy Grail buffs. And that is the field that has the stone huts, you know, that known as the capitels or shepherd's huts. And you and I have gone there. And one thing about this area is that's provable and measurable is the amazing telluric energy in the land here. And I'm wondering, if you haven't done it already, when are we going to go up and measure around Coustaussa Castle to see what comes up? Because the readings were quite wild when we went to the very nearby capitels. And I'm wondering, Gauthier, do you feel a special energy? Not to get too woo-woo, but do you feel a special energy around your land there?
Well, I am not able to sense any kind of energy, so I cannot understand people that feel energy. I don't say you don't feel energy. That it's like talking about something you can see to someone that is blind.
Yes.
I am blind to energy, so I don't understand you. But I have heard people that came to that castle and said that energy is a lot less brutal that you have at Rennes-le-Château.
Oh, interesting. Because we could actually bring up, James has some equipment, and we could actually measure it and show it to you, and then you don't have to see it or feel it to know that it's genuine.
I will just say that the equipment is actually scientific. It's
yes.
It's it's not a sort of ghostometer kind of thing.
No.
What it does is it scans for magnetic field strength. And this is, I just wanted to talk about this actually, because last week I was made aware that Professor Phil Harding of Wessex Archaeology had a substantial find to share with the world, and had done very short interview explaining that, quite emotionally actually, that this was probably the find of his life, and what it was actually a proto Stonehenge site dating to at least 500 years before the original, if you want. Now, I'd just say about Stonehenge, it was constructed by the Victorians and then reconstructed in the early 1920s, 30s. So, yeah. Just keep that in mind. But it was very exciting. Now, one of the things that that is a curiosity is a belief in the sort of magnetic field in this area is littered. The ground soils are littered in ferric material, as say iron material, and you do find. And we're not talking about metal detector stuff here, but what you do find is there are sites in prehistory that tend to congregate around places where there is a local magnetic field. Now, some people can take that into a different, going to aliens and all of this. I would just take the other side of it, which is a part of investigation from a period of time where, unfortunately or fortunately, there was no written records. The capitels, just incidentally, are, there are thousands of them in the area. Most of them date between 1700 and the very early 1900s as shepherd huts. And you find them actually all over. Where they're not shepherd huts, though, is where you have beehive solid structures. They are of a pre-Celtic age, and can be found as far north as the Hebrides in Scotland, Argyll, as well as Brittany, Galicia in northwestern Spain. And there are a few candidates in this area too. But do not get confused by a shepherd hut and the other type of building, because otherwise you're going to make a few mistakes. But again, this is just a sort of legacy in the broader area around Coustaussa of much older peoples. The Viraza culture, perhaps, I would suggest, may be responsible for some of those constructions. Look, for everyone, again, come visit. That's what I've got to say. Repeat. In the broader area, if we were to just give a bit of a summary, you have, well, yes, you've got Rennes-le-Château, but you have the Château of Arc, Château d'Arc, which is quite a northern style of construction, but still recommend visiting. You have, well, we've mentioned Dalet-les-Bains, well worth a visit. A very rich history there. You have Far. There are so many places. I mean, we would be here all day, but perhaps, I'm not trying to tell people not to go to Carcassonne. I mean, it's a very, very well restored city, absolutely. Yeah. But just get on the bus or drive just a little further, because there's more magic to be found.
Yes, that's right. And of course, for those who visit and contribute to that project, I was able to negotiate some discount around. So if you visit the Castle of Coustaussa, I give, after your contribution, a paper with more of history of that castle. And this paper gives you a discount at the entrance of the Castle of Arc. I was also able to negotiate also discount at the Castle of Pillorance. That is one of the big castles that you can visit. But the path to go there is much harder than Coustaussa, I should say. And also there is a dinosaur museum in this area, a very big dinosaur museum that one you can find in a big city, but in a small village. And I was able to also have discount for you at that place if you visit Coustaussa first.
So yes, I have to say, in terms of archaeology, I don't do dinosaurs. That's not my field. But yes,
but they have a beautiful greenhouse.
It is interesting, though. You know, the history of this area encompasses, you know, all these wonderful things like the Knights Templar and things that you can actually go and visit. And then there's the Dinosaur Museum, which you don't really expect. But when you know more about the area, it makes perfect sense because there's been so much found here.
Well, I think it was a T-Rex that was found. And I do have to say, whilst the Dinosaur Museum is found in Esperanza, the T-Rex, I believe, was actually found in Campansurord.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and there's a few hard feelings that it I do have to say that I think the name of the T-Rex was Salazar, of which there is now a bottle of Blanquette.
It's the Salazar winery, in Campania.
But and I think also there's an Archaeopteryx. Is there an Archaeopteryx? Anyway, there's lots of very interesting dinosaur finds that you can see in there.
And it's not only the only museum you can find. You have in the same building a very small museum, the Hat Factory Museum, the memory of the factory of Esperanza that has left, because they used to produce a lot of hats. They used to have a lot of factory, and you had also in Privet another museum about the medieval instrument museum. So there's so much to see there and to enjoy that this is really the next step you have to do after Carcassonne.
Yes.
Just to say about the hats, I know I've spoke about this before, but actually the origin of felting, whilst there's no doubt others contributed, but the Templars' husbandry of sheep and woolen products actually generated that industry, alongside others, Flemish weavers, for example, a group of people from Germany, actually, who were also involved in the medieval period. So, yes, you might think, a hat museum. I don't think so. Well, actually, you know, it has a deeper history in itself. And of course, Privet, you know, with its construction and funds directly and indirectly coming from Eleanor of Aquitaine, as a heart for the troubadour traditions. Of course, the musical instruments, if you ever Privet, are absolutely all over the walls, quite literally. So it's again, no village, no town is ever in isolation. In many ways, it has its the tapestry of history is woven really through the villages and towns, not just the big cities. And so, yes, of course, all of the museums, you know, you go and visit. But there is another bit of history which is much older than dinosaurs that I would like to talk about. And of course, that's a bit of a project or beginnings of something at Coustaussa, which, of course, any guesses, much older than the dinosaurs?
No.
Of course, it's sky watching, because what you...
Oh, of course, yes.
What you have there are exceptionally clear skies.
Oh.
There are several platforms that you find at the castle. Perfect viewing spots to look at the heavens, and of course the stars you can see through telescopes are much older than life on Earth in some instances. So, Gauthier, I don't suppose you want to talk about that project as well, you know?
The position of Coustaussa, that castle, and also thanks to the modernization of the éclairage public or public lighting system, we have less pollution over the sky. We still have a little bit from Cuisa down there, but it will not be annoying because on the night, during a clear night, we can see all the Milky Way over the castle of Coustaussa. And I think it was super beautiful and super interesting to show to people. And that one, I wanted to host some project like that so people could enjoy the night sky without climbing very far in the mountain with a very hard path to take, and be more family friendly, I should say.
Yes.
Also.
Yeah, Gauthier, we've been talking about doing a skywatch up there ever since we first met, I think last year. And it is the perfect place. I think I told you that when I used to come over, I would go up on the side of the hill there underneath the castle and lie up and look at the sky, because it was the most magnificent, clear view that you could get until, of course, the wild boar come to run you away, which is what happened with us. But I don't think there's any chance of that up in the castle complex. Hopefully you can keep out the sanglier and the other creatures from running everyone away.
I remember doing a talk once and someone called me a wild boar, but I think they were spelling the word boar slightly.
Oh, I doubt that. But yes, it's a beautiful, beautiful sky up there. You just can't beat it anywhere.
And I think that the idea is with a number of telescopes that the overall project has available is now sky watching and stargazing are quite difficult things. I know a lot of people think it's just, you just take a telescope up. Well, actually, you need to account for the fact that the Earth is actually rotating very quickly. Plus heat in the lower and upper atmosphere, light pollution, clouds, rain, wild boars, insects. It becomes one of those things. So I think with dates for stargazing, it's always a movable feast. But this said, if you want to connect with prehistoric humans, Homo sapiens, well, the sky was YouTube. It was the TV. It was the books. People looked at the heavens. So much so they told stories about them. We call them constellations today. But there isn't a culture on the planet that doesn't have different terms, yes, but doesn't have their own constellation. So what better place to be in somewhere steeped in history in the castle, but also seeing the biggest show on earth, which is in the heavens.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to the Skywatch and any other events that we can come up with or that Gauthier decides.
Yeah, I will. I will let you know about all that project. I will also update my website, so you can see actually the website chateau-coustaussa.fr. There is an English translation there. I will update the website soon, so we have more picture, more stories about the history of that castle and our project. I plan to make it also a hub, so you will not be lost when you visit the south of Carcassonne. So you will know what you can do, what you can see in that point. It will be the starting point of your voyage in the Haute Vallée de l'Aude. So really, this is the beginning of a very huge adventure for me.
And Gauthier, is there a place on your website where if people want to, say they've got a small group and they want to come up for a visit, can they contact you through there and arrange a time?
Yeah, you can. You have my phone number. You have also the email address. We are on Google Maps also, and the local office tourism. So you can ask your question. I will answer them. If the castle is closed and you absolutely want to visit, you can also take an appointment, like I will have tomorrow. So we are open as much as possible, but I cannot be there 24/7. Unfortunately, because I need sleep, I need to eat, and I need to rest sometimes during the week. Otherwise, I think I will go crazy about more crazy that I am really crazy.
That or we'll have to clone you, Gauthier, perhaps something like that. I just want to say as well for listeners to the show as well, you can visit us on newrennies.org. A link to the Château Coustaussa will be put up onto the website. Should you forget what the website is, and again, just for those who are watching the show, the website for the castle is www.chateau-coustaussa.fr even. If you want to email the team at New Rennies, then usual email, the newrennies@gmail.com. Details are up on screen. If you again want to get in touch with any suggestions for tours, or actually you might want to visit somewhere local in the area of the Ord or further afield, etc., then you can get in touch, and we can sort that. And it would be remiss as well, of course, not to mention again La Confluence Centre that's based actually just around the corner from Coustaussa, and you can visit.
Oh yeah, very close.
Visit that site again, laconfluencecentre.fr, to again have a look at the B&B, I think, conference center, tours, events, lots of different things.
Do we have time to mention your new book that's coming out?
You can mention the book if you.
I've got it over here, but it's across the room, and plus I don't know if I'm supposed to show it. It's a private manuscript.
So yeah, the new book is well, actually, if you must know, a sneak preview for everyone. The final manuscript is now with the publisher for editing, as happens, and hopeful of a release later this year. And it's covering the rise of the Knights Templar, but in a very different way. It's chronicling, just over 1,000 years of history from the time of the Roman Empire right the way through to the foundation of the Knights Templar. There's lots of books out there about the Knights, about the Crusades, and various meetings that people had to found it, and then they were all captured, and that's not true. But all of this. So this is not a book like that. This is really a history of some select places across Europe over time. So every chapter moves the time period on to give you a flavour as to the life and times that enabled the Templars. And each of the chapters, ranging from Spain to Scandinavia, Britain and France, has areas that the Knights would later be connected with. In fact, I have to say, the hat industry that we were talking about has a brief mention, as does Coustaussa, and a few other places. But yeah, when I have a release date, I will let you know. And
yeah, keep your eyeballs peeled, people. It's the name of the book is Order of Magnitude, and it is the first in a series of 3 books of the entire history of the Knights Templar. Never been done before, and I'm going to say it as I always do. I predict this is going to be a reference book for every serious student of the Knights Templar or people who are just interested in Knight Templar history. It's going to be a wonderful reference book to have around to check things against, because I know how diligent James is in corroborating his sources and checking and rechecking and all that. Much more careful than I would ever be. But I do admire that. So that's going to be coming up hopefully sooner rather than later, if these publishers know what's good for them. And in the meantime, we've still got, excuse me, Uncharted, the book that you wrote with Tim Wallace Murphy. In fact, his final book is still available on sale on Amazon or just about anywhere.
Audible as well, if you want.
Audible, that's right.
Yeah, I think it's Nigel Patterson read it. Yeah, a very unusual thing to have your own words read by someone else. It's very strange feeling.
I think they should have had you do the voice, but I know how they do it. I know how it works. And
well, every time I've read anything to anyone, they've fallen asleep, and
no,
well, that's a good thing.
It could be. I think it's a wonderful thing.
I don't want to read the full book and put someone into a coma.
It could help millions of insomniacs throughout the world. You know? Could
very well be.
It's an issue.
I just want to, sort of final word really to Gauthier, I suppose, with this one, which is, so if people can get in touch with you on the website, do you have any way in which people might want to donate to the project, either in terms of cash or actually come to volunteer to help you clean up or not clean up, but to help cut down some of the brambles, because there's nothing worse than the idea of someone skulking around Coustaussa with a pickaxe and scissors in their hands. Certainly after the death of Gellie, but how do people donate either that money or time if they want to?
So right now the donation system is not set up. We need to create the association first, and we will let you up to date about that on the website. And I bet next time on this radio channel, I will be very pleased to do.
Good.
And I will let you inform about that. Currently, what you can do to help me is came to visit here at the castle, because here we are acknowledged by the number of people visiting the site. And currently, we welcome 1,000 visitors a year, so it's not much next to Carcassonne. And it will be super calm, and I think I will be able to handle more tour even in English. So
great.
That's a really good point, actually. So the tours of the castle, they are in French and English. Do you have any other languages that you speak?
Unfortunately, no. I completely forget my Spanish. After high school, there were no lecture about that on my technical university, and I forget everything really. And I don't see so much people from Spain at the castle. Less than 1% of you are from Spain.
Wow, I know that a lot of Spaniards come to this area in September. Maybe we can figure out a way to guide some up your your direction. But it looks like we're out of time, guys, and we'll need to wrap the show up. Thank you, Gauthier, and thank you, James, for handling this version of Night Vision Radio for me. It was really interesting, really good, and we're going to look forward to updates about the society or the organization, the Friends of the Castle, and any developments up there. But I think we'll have a group up to see you next week, Gauthier. I'll have to make sure we get the right date and time for you. And some Americans will be up to visit you this week.
Well,
all right, guys.
Thanks for having me on, Renee.
Thanks, everybody. Viva
Bye.
Angelina.